Today is the end of the Republic. I'm joking. No Star Wars quotes today, my friends. Today we are talking about a Linux Mint blog post that has some current debates and some current problems. And this is something I really want to talk about. And we're going to remember the Raspberry Pi Foundation situation? Guess what, fam? That's back today. What the hell's wrong with me? Anyways, yes, we're talking about the Linux Mint blog post uploaded today, shared with me by Mr. Dominic Hayes of Farron OS himself. This. Linux Mint, please make up your mind. Do you really care about the telemetry and closed source problems and data being sent? Because that was part of your problem of Snap back in the day. When that happened, what the honest fuck is this? Today we'll be talking about the Update Your Computer blog post, which I'm going to go through the TLDR real quick because, most of it doesn't matter. It's not part of this discussion. It's literally only one section that I want to focus on today. Security updates are important. Stats tell us they're not being applied by users. We'll get to that in a minute. Apply updates now and don't run EOL versions of Linux Mint. Now, I like how they're not forcing updates on the users. That's the only good thing I could say about this. Guys, this is an actual piece of stupid shit. Because let's go into statistics, everybody. About 30% of users apply updates in less than a week. Between 5 and 30% still run Linux Mint 17X. How do you know this? Do you guys... Oh, yeah. Farron actually said this. They get the pings from the repositories. Now, am I against distributions using repositories as information? Yes. Yes, because it can be personalized. Or at least we don't know for sure if this is unpersonalized because we don't know what their server is collecting. If this collects IP addresses, that's a problem. Ubuntu. But if it doesn't, why can't I haven't used Linux Mint in a hot minute. Mostly because I'm working on a Fedora spin. But if this collects IP addresses, I want to know if I can opt out. So I want to go with this in two mindsets. The version where people can opt out of this, which is the more likely option, and the version that people can't. Let's go with the version that people can't real quick because it's going to be quick. Linux Mint, stop doing that. If people make them opt in, not opt out. But let's say they're not. They're not. They're like, it's opt in. Stupid headphones. Why? Why do we have this data? People, according to Dominic, people can be like upset over the things that like Raspberry Pi Foundation's doing the exact same things here. More or less. And that's why this is partially a part of a debate, whether or not Raspberry Pi was right. And I'm sorry if this gets rambly. There's a lot to talk about here. It really doesn't matter if the number is 10 to 15%. It needs to be 0. We have mechanisms in place, but we didn't have it at the time of Linux Mint 17X. So, guys, I want to let you know something. No, you should not know how many users are on a specific version of your OS because you know what that means? That means there's a level of telemetry. Telemetry telemetry. I need to start saying telemetry, not telemetry. Sorry, I was making a joke distro at one point called Telementary. That was a fork of Elementary OS, but with a bunch of spyware in it. But Telemetry in Linux Mint, that's what this is saying. Because they know what version you're on. It's sending back system information. Should it be able to send back, like, basics, like what operating system, what package manager you're accessing, what's your IP address? No. Absolutely not. Sorry about that. My little brother came into the room and I had to tell him to politely shoot. Awesome little brother, though. Anyways. Linux Mint is collecting data from the users. And I'm pretty sure it's opt-in, but I haven't used Linux Mint in a hot minute, and this is bad. No, your computer should not know what operating system you're on. Should it know what repos you're accessing? Of course, it needs to know that. Should it know what your IP address is? Potentially, but only temporarily as someone grabs a package so it knows where to send the fuck back to. Pencil, how dare you? Anyways, no. Bad Linux Mint. Knowing system information is wrong, in my personal opinion. It is telementary, and it's a promise. And unlike the Raspberry Pi Foundation, y'all kind of say you don't have telemetry in your operating system. Or at least, as far as I can tell, it's implied by either just the whole project or the community. Either way, it should stop because telemetry is a bad thing. It's bad. So, my short thoughts on this are, no, Linux Mint, you should not have this information. You really shouldn't. And the only reason I see being valid is if you're trying to get investors on your side. But you know what that means? You're selling user data. So, there's telemetry inside of Linux Mint. And while it's not a problem on Raspberry Pi, because they don't make such promises. They don't even say that they're a completely false operating system. There's a problem here with Linux Mint, because that's kind of the thing with Linux Mint. And Dominic said he thought I know people who have that reason, but pointing out Linux Mint does that. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Farron, because I hate this. Unlike on Raspberry Pi, where they have been excused, Linux Mint doesn't really. And knowing whether or not people are on Linux Mint 17X is a problem. It's a huge problem and should stop. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. My name is Guy. This guy likes Linux, and I'll see you in the next time I record. Have a wonderful day, everybody.